Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Deep within the vast and mysterious realms of nature, a creature eludes the prying eyes of mankind. Its name resonates through legends, captivating the imaginations of people from different cultures across the globe. Tonight, we embark on a captivating journey to explore the enigma of Bigfoot, a legendary creature that has captivated human curiosity for centuries. With its different names like Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Yeti, and Yowie, this elusive beast has left an indelible mark on the fabric of global folklore and the hearts of countless believers. Native American legends of the creature are an interesting part of the greater Bigfoot story. The legend of Sasquatch, Native Americans say, has been passed down through many generations. It is believed that they are the guardians of the forest, teaching us respect for nature and the consequences of violating its sanctity. Over the years, numerous sightings and footprint discoveries have fueled the belief in the existence of Bigfoot. These tracks exhibit an unusual bipedal gait measuring up to 24 inches long and 8 inches wide. Many of these tracks show a particularly peculiar feature, something called a mid-tarsal break, which is a feature of a primate foot but not present in humans. Skeptics argue that they could be hoaxes or misidentifications, but the sheer number of these casks suggest that something strange is happening somehow in many forests throughout the world. While tales of Bigfoot continue to fascinate us, we must approach this phenomenon with scientific skepticism. Extraordinary claims, after all, require extraordinary evidence, and until we obtain concrete, irrefutable proof, we must remain cautious. Interestingly, we begin our journey by showing you what one man claims is irrefutable proof of Bigfoot. In fact, this man, whose name is Todd Standing, claims that he has captured the very face of Bigfoot, not just once, but multiple times on camera. But is this really a living, breathing, real creature he somehow managed to film? Or is it just an elaborate hoax and money-making scam? Now, I could have just looked at this footage myself and told you what I think of it, but I thought it would be better if I bring multiple people, experts of different areas in, and let them tell you what they think of this footage. Let's begin by first showing you, without commentary or interruption, this interesting footage, which we have enhanced as much as possible so that you get the very best look possible at these alleged creatures Todd Standing claims to have filmed. Greetings and salutations. Today, friends, I'm going to show you my enhanced version of Todd Standing's Bigfoot footage. I wanted to see if I could clean it up a little bit, zoom in a little bit, so I tried to make an enhancement of his original footage, but it is a very basic one. To enhance this footage, I used standard techniques including zoom, contrast adjustments, increased saturation, light adjustments, some de-blurring, stabilization where possible, and just a few other things. In short, I tried to pull you a little closer, to give you a little clearer view than Todd Standing did with his original footage. There are 4 films, I call them, or 4 money shots, we should say, from his documentary Discovering Bigfoot. The first I call Bigfoot Face 1. The second is I call Bigfoot Faces 2 because it shows 2 Bigfoot faces. The third I called the Blackface Bigfoot. And the fourth is Running Bigfoot. So through these enhancements, we're going to get the clearest view of these creatures that anyone has ever gotten to my knowledge. But let me know what you think in the comments. Is this the face of Bigfoot? Are these real living, breathing creatures, or
something else? Let me know what you think in the comments. Let's get into the footage, friends. So, we're going to hear from some experts. I wanted to know what different experts in different fields would think about this footage. Is it a living, breathing, real creature or something else? Now, some of you already know this, but for the benefit of those that do not, I was once a professional magician and illusionist. I also did some puppet work, personally and professionally. I was a maker of masks, and I created some special effects both for my own shows and for other shows. I think that qualifies me to look at something like this and decide if it's a real, living, breathing creature being filmed here, or if this is just a carefully created deception. In other words, an illusion. But still, I didn't want you to just take my word for it. I wanted to bring in some other experts. I thought for a while, and what I thought about was, who would I hire if I wanted to make some Bigfoot footage? And suddenly it hit me. There is a powerhouse duo that I got to meet, even get to know a little bit from the world of magic and illusions. That would be John Bundy and Morgan. These two are amazing. They have done magic and illusion shows all over the United States and beyond, in theme parks, theaters, pay-per-view events, and more. John Bundy has done puppet shows all over and created the puppets and built the puppet sets. And what's really amazing here about these two is that they're not just the on-stage talent. They do it all. They paint and build whole sets. They build these incredible stage illusions. They script the shows. They perform the shows, design costumes, and more. They are experts at using stagecraft and music and lighting to create illusions. They are experts at the art of illusion, at using deception and stagecraft to sell a pretty lie that people fall in love with. So I wondered, would they think this footage was of a living, breathing, real creature, or would they think it was a pretty lie, a carefully crafted lie, but still a lie? First, I wanted to show you some examples of their illusion work and performances. And after we will see some examples of their illusion work, we'll hear what these experts have to say about this footage. Is it incredible evidence or just an incredible hoax? Well, my friends, we've seen some of their incredible work, but what do these two lifelong masters of illusions think about this alleged Bigfoot footage? Is this a real, live, living, breathing creature? Or is this a carefully constructed illusion of a real creature? I was curious what these two would have to say after viewing the footage. So I've sent them the footage and they have sent me their thoughts via email here. We're going to begin with Morgan, who begins with the short answer, "I'm not impressed." So right off the bat, she's not impressed. The very first thing that jumps out at me about in all of these videos is that the man has managed to find a woods completely devoid of wind. Nothing in these videos moves. There is no ambient wind, especially on the foreground elements. And let's start with the foreground. In all the face videos, there is the same distinct foreground blurred, something closest to the camera. In the first video, it is on the left, and in the second and third, it is on the right. But it is the exact same element. The fact that it is the same in all three videos makes it seem very much like a video overlay. She goes on to say, the faces in the same overall orientation in all three videos, blurred, something obscuring one side, rock or a large object in the front, covering anything below the chin, and a very controlled field of view. Next she says, 3 once-in-a-lifetime shots that all look the same. What are the chances of that? She says, in the running video, foreground elements are even more stagnant and unmoving. Again, no wind, not even a breeze. Next she says, as for the face itself, Bigfoot uses hairspray. The hair on the first face is far too neat. The eyes are very set back, which indicates a thickness of material like a mask or makeup prosthetic. Apes have deep-set eyes, but you see the deepness at the brow ridge, not in the bottom of the eyes where they joined the cheeks. Next, Morgan says that the nose and lips areas are all dry, show no sign of moisture. The lips on the second face all appear to be exactly the same as those on the first face, indicating the same mold is being used in the mask, or the same person wearing the prosthetics. Further, Morgan says that the eyes also indicate that the same person and all three faces. So again, she says that the eyes in these films also indicate the same person and all three faces. It's interesting to know that the white of the eye is visible. Old Hollywood movies and makeup artists commonly made this mistake when doing apes. Apes have much bigger eyes than humans and little to no white. One could argue that a Bigfoot is human or half human, but the eyes in all those faces definitely are human. Finally, Morgan says the third one is the worst. The wrinkles in the forehead are clearly sculpted in and totally unmoving. She says, sorry to rain on this guy's parade, but there's nothing real about any of these videos. So there we have it. That's what a lifelong master of illusion thinks of these videos. Okay, next, what did John Bundy, master of illusion, lifetime magician, and crafter of beautiful illusions, think? Was this a living, breathing creature or a carefully constructed illusion? So I corresponded with John by email, and now we'll go over exactly what he had to say about this alleged Bigfoot footage. John Bundy says, to my eye, there is no sign of life, not a blink, not a twitch, no movement at all, except a slight wave back and forth, as if someone was trying to hold a teddy bear still over their head. I've referenced close-up videos of gorillas, great apes, and bears. There is facial movement even when standing still. A big cat can be totally still, but can this? Next, John Bundy says that the walking shot had a cadence just like the Patterson film. He believes they were trying to find a similarity. Next, John Bundy says that the hair on all the creatures is a bit pristine for a creature without a comb. So there we have it, friends. We have a pair of magicians, illusionists, who are used to creating illusions, both of which have done work with puppets and latex prosthetics, stage illusions, and more. And both of them took one look at this footage and said, "This is fake."
Wait a second. Did you see that? In case you missed it, let's go back and have a closer look. Can you see those 3 apples way off in the background? Here's a shot of them as they were a few minutes ago. They are 3 large red delicious apples. Here's what they look like from the other camera 25 yards away. Let's call them apples 1, 2, and 3. Watch again now closely in slow motion to apple number 3. Did you see that? Have a closer look. Where apple 3 once was is now a black, empty space. If you watch it again in slow motion, you can actually see it removed. Now watch this. That's 3. At this moment, I have no idea those apples are being taken. 1, 2, and over here. I can hear this guy moving over on me too. And there goes apple number 1. Kinda don't know which way to look. I've got nowhere to go right now. Shit. I just... In case you didn't notice it, I was literally shaking. So I was absolutely terrified because all their energy was focused on me and I could feel it. I could feel them there. When I did that pan across, I knew there was an individual at each one of those spots. I knew it. I could feel it. It was powerful. And what is also amazing is after I trip, I fall, the light goes off, all these things kind of fall apart, and I'm done, guys. I'm tapping. Like I'm over adrenaline, over emotional, over blown on every level. It's as much as I can take. So you know what they do? They leave me alone. They go, "Man, that's a good enough." My teachers say he's had enough. We got our apples, which is cool. He gave us that gift with an open, wonderful heart, just because he cares about us, because he's building this relationship with us, and he's had enough, guys. Leave him alone. And they left me alone to the point where they weren't harassing me anymore. I know they followed me out. I know an individual stayed there, watched me, followed me out, but didn't push me anymore. And it was enough. It was enough for me to, even the next day, I stayed one day just to let them know that I'm not hightailing it out of there, that it wasn't a traumatic experience. So I spent the whole extra one day there just to chill out and go, I'm cool, no more gifts. I felt like I'd learned enough too. And I just wanted them to say, hey, yo, and put that energy out there. I'm leaving. Everything's cool. This was a wonderful experience. And I'm going to go home and I learned my lesson. And now this relationship can go to a new level, which it has and which it has done, and which is so amazing. These little subtle things that are going on are so important and so rich, because that's happening right now. Right now they're taking apples from us. Right now the Sasquatch are giving us beautiful gifts, making structures for us, and we're going to a new level. Problem is, we need to get to a new level, and the only way I can see to do that is new footage. Or do you have a better idea?
As we headed deeper into the mountains for our hike, I decided to interview the mysterious woman that Todd was with. What is your relationship to Todd?
I am basically an apprentice, so I'm here to learn what he has to teach with tracking and looking for Bigfoot, basically. So
So how did that come about?
I was just a fan, and I found him on Instagram after watching his documentary on Netflix, and he answered me back, and I was just asking if he does expeditions for just to go, for regular people, just to go out and try and find Sasquatch, and he messaged me back and said he was willing to do that, and now I'm here.
Dope.
Yeah. I am a skeptic, slightly. Until I see it for myself, I'm definitely not going to be able to believe it.
What was up with that Sasquatch glove in the back seat?
I don't know. I'm going to definitely grill him on that one. So,
Yeah.
very suspicious.
Bigfoot, friends. Bigfoot has been an enduring mystery for thousands of years. There are stories going back generations of a hairy, man-like creature that lives in the forest. It's the legend, my friends, of Sasquatch or Bigfoot or many other names. But recently, one man claimed that he would discover Bigfoot and finally solve this age-old mystery. His name is Todd Standing, and he claims to have seen, interacted with, even filmed real live Bigfoot creatures. But did he really film these faces of Bigfoot, or was it something else? Has he offered us incredible evidence of his fantastical claims, or is this just an incredible hoax? I wanted to find out. So I've gathered a team of experts of sorts to help me dig into this. Todd Standing also claims that you too can go on a Bigfoot expedition where, quote, Todd presents the attendees, expeditioners, with the opportunity to eyewitness and or interact with Sasquatch. The expeditioners are hand-selected by Todd to experience a breathtaking adventure. Oh great, I get an opportunity. This is an opportunity for me to eyewitness or interact with a Sasquatch. This is an opportunity. And this opportunity costs $3,500 US. You get to go camping with this guy for a week at some undisclosed location in the Canadian wilderness. For $3,500, you get the opportunity to see, or hey, maybe even interact with a Bigfoot. I have so many questions, but I was glad because yesterday I found out that a fellow show host I know has talked to this man and maybe knows a great deal more about him than me. Here to give us his opinion on this alleged Bigfoot footage from Todd Standing, and also to help, really just to help us shed some light on all of this, is Anthony from Unidentified S4. Welcome, Anthony.
Good evening, Steven. Thanks for having me.
Well, let's get into this. Do you want to start with looking at the actual footage, or do you want to start with some background about how you know about this guy and what you've looked into as far as he's concerned?
Okay, we could start with a little background. I started looking into Todd back in 2008. Was the first time I really got into him. I've seen the footage multiple times. I started talking to Todd via Facebook just last year when I was thinking about starting the show, starting to do the live and everything on my show. He and I discussed him possibly coming on my show a handful of times, and it was always, oh, I got to talk to my producer, and then it would be, oh, my producer, then I swear he reminds me of Dr. Greer, because then it went into, you need a significant number of viewers and followers. We're looking for over 50,000 minimum on your platform. So I was like, well, I have nowhere near that, but he always kicked it back and forth with me via Messenger. He was always very polite. He, answered any questions I had, so I'll give him that. But the work was just always too perfect for me. And every time I would ask, does Bigfoot go out for a haircut, or does, Bigfoot get a shave on the weekend? Because the pictures that you're showing of the Bigfoot heads, they're just too perfect. I don't know if you noticed that. But
They
just
look a little too. They look a little too manicured.
yeah, a little too manicured.
So,
But I never got a
but
definitive
look,
answer.
Anthony, how do we not know that they groom each other or something? And
Well,
like
then
other apes do that, maybe,
yeah,
right?
yeah, and then look at bears. Bears' hair only grows out to a certain length. They could kind of look like they're manicured as well. Gorillas and chimps the same. So who's to say that Bigfoot's hair doesn't grow out to a certain length and then that's just it? But who the hell knows? I know he's taken photos of male Sasquatch, female Sasquatch, and what he calls the elder Sasquatch, and he's got specific names for each one. So when you show
Yeah,
the photos, I'll tell you what's what.
He's got his own pet Bigfoots, and they all
He's
got
got
names.
his own pet Bigfoot. Yeah, the most elusive bipedal thing in the world, but yet he's living with them when he goes out there in the forest, and he's the only man that could do it.
Yeah, this doesn't make very much sense to me.
No,
And he's kind of the Bigfoot savior, though. He's discovering Bigfoot for all of us. He's going to be on the cusp of this world-shattering, amazing discovery.
Yeah, well,
I don't know.
I don't know either. When somebody does a lot of name dropping. Also, if you notice, a lot of every time.
Yes, I have his. I have his here. I can share this. This is good. I have his website right here where he's advertising his expeditions, and let's see. The expeditioners are hand-selected by Todd to experience the breathtaking adventure that celebrities like Les Stroud, John Bindernagel, and Jeff Meldrum enjoyed. And I would argue that even maybe Les Stroud, he could be called a celebrity, maybe. People know that Survivor Man, right? He's the originator. He deserves some respect because he's like the originator of all the survival shows. Right. He did it first before Naked and Afraid and all those.
Oh, yeah. He's the man when it comes to out in the field doing that stuff.
I would challenge anybody, even in our audience, to know who John Bindernagel was, who was a wildlife biologist.
He was a primatologist,
Yeah, he was, I think, wildlife biologist.
Wildlife biologist, yeah.
Yeah. And he lived in British Columbia, and he's a big believer in Bigfoot, and he's been in a few documentaries, but I don't know if he's a celebrity. And Jeff Meldrum, maybe, I don't know. He's been on like the Discovery Channel and the History Channel talking about Bigfoot.
He's a college professor.
But that is some name dropping. So and
always.
Interestingly, John Bindernagel did say that he believed the Bigfoot footage was real and that Todd was interacting with real creatures. And he's passed away now. Right. But interestingly, I'm trying to get a comment from Les Stroud and from Jeff Meldrum. I started with Jeff Meldrum, and I've got, I don't know, a bunch of phone calls. I've got his phone number at his job. It's always voicemail, but I've left a bunch of voicemails because I want to know if he endorses this Bigfoot footage as a real live breathing creature or something else. And does he endorse this Todd Standing using him in this ad copy to sell people real live Bigfoot experiences? He has not returned any emails. He has not returned my calls. And I think that says a lot about what he may think. Like, why would he not comment if he believes this stuff is real?
He may have a non-disclosure agreement with the Expedition Bigfoot team with Todd. Who knows? I also think that he's for hire, if I'm not mistaken. I believe you can hire him and take him out, in the field to pretty much do any show for hire. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think that would be accurate. But I wanted to ask him that too. Like, can I hire you to be in my Bigfoot documentary?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that you can.
Oh, most definitely. He's been in so many now. I can't see why not.
Yeah, very interesting. So, where do we go from here? Like, do you want to look at this footage?
Yeah, let me see what you got. I'd love to see what you got.
Sure, and I've enhanced this a little bit. I zoomed in. I tried to clean it up. I tried to... one second here. And I'm going to mute the audio. This is the first one of the money shots, and I called this one Bigfoot Face 1.
Okay. So that's Jake, allegedly. That's the name he gave to this one. That's a young male Sasquatch. I believe he was around, he had said around 3 to 5 years old at that time.
I can't believe that he has pet names for all his Sasquatch friends.
Now watch the eye. I hope you get the eye closure on this one. It's so animatronic-like.
Yeah, I don't even know that it looked like it fully closed. It looked like it just moved a little bit,
Just
like
like
the brow
blinks.
moved a little bit.
Yeah, it's really weird. Could you imagine though if we're really looking at a Sasquatch right now? I mean, that would be spectacular.
It would be earth-shattering. It would change all of human history as we know
You
it,
know,
right?
God, I'm sorry.
Just about the family of man. Like, is there some missing link between the world of the animals and the world of humans? That's why it's fascinating. That's why I like Bigfoot, because it's a mystery, and it would be amazing if there were creatures. And you know what? Somewhere in time, a long time ago, there was.
Oh, right.
Creatures halfway between apes and us.
Yep. Yeah, we had Gigantopithecus, which was a similar bipedal animal like that.
Yeah.
You know, I will give Todd one thing. He does go out into the field for days on end. I mean, that's fact. They actually sent out a Canadian rescue team for him one time when he went out on an expedition. He didn't come back. I don't think that was.
Somebody put that in put that in the comments of another one of the videos in this series, and I didn't know that. But
yeah,
I don't know this. I don't know that spending a lot of time out in the woods is not an argument for why you really are hanging out with Bigfoot creatures.
Right. Well, if
right?
you and I
think? Because I go out in the woods a lot, but I'm not going. Hey, look, I got a bunch of pet Bigfoots.
At Bigfoot, yeah. Well, I mean, if you and I went out into the up in the Adirondacks and we said to our wives we're going to go away for 3 days camping and look for Bigfoot, and then next thing you know, it was 7 days later and we're not back. You know, they're going to send out a search party for us. So, I mean, that's going to happen if anybody goes missing. That doesn't mean, he was out there looking for Bigfoot or hanging out with Bigfoot.
And also, given his propensity for, I think he does what I would term as publicity stunts. Yeah, I think that he did a court case that, and the sole purpose of that court case was supposed to be to have Bigfoot declared like an endangered species and be protected or something. But it was a publicity stunt to get eyeballs on him and to sell his story, I guess.
Yeah,
right.
Well, he's selling a lot of stuff. He sells autographed pictures of these alleged Bigfoots.
I didn't know that. Really?
Stickers, hats, videos. You could buy all of that stuff on his page.
Oh, it's the store. I didn't see this. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's look at the merch. You got merch.
He's got merch, right?
He's got merch, Anthony. This is great. Because if I really discovered real Bigfoot creatures and had 100% proof that Sasquatches are real, the first thing I would do is make some T-shirts to sell, Anthony. This is totally not sketch.
Come on. I mean, I'm an animal lover, but when it comes to Bigfoot, that's one animal I would shoot to prove that it's real. I mean, if you're around them that much, why didn't you shoot one? Why didn't you dart one, a tranquilizer one? I know they're gigantic.
No, you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to hurt them.
Well, all right. If you can tranquilize an elephant or rhinoceros, any type of those big animals, why can't you dart a Bigfoot and get blood and hair and skin samples and all those stuff we need to prove that the animal's real for once and for all, just to bring some closure to it already? But nothing yet.
Well, there's been people lately that claim that they had Bigfoot DNA, but that's
there's people that swear they got Bigfoot DNA.
That's all horseshit. That's all bullshit.
Yeah, people that swear they shot Bigfoot and they had blood on their boots, then they test their boots and it's bad blood and their story falls apart. It's all crap.
But look, we got hats, we got patches, we got signed Jake and Jane photo images.
Yep.
We've got stickers and more hats. And what else? Yes, more stickers. A poster. You could get a poster.
Mm-hmm.
This is ridiculous.
And for an extra $30, he'll autograph it.
It's so obvious to me that this is okay. Well, let's go to the next part of the footage, right?
You know, Todd Standen actually, he sold me a Sasquatch. I got it stuffed here in the office. It was only $50,000. Check that guy out.
That's great. All right, we're going to go to the next face of Bigfoot. And this is, if you're just joining us, friends, you're watching Truth Seekers. I'm here with my friend Anthony from the Unidentified S4 channel. And we're kind of having some fun looking at this Bigfoot, alleged Bigfoot films this person Todd Standing made. Is this really the face of Bigfoot?
Okay,
What are your thoughts on this one, Anthony?
okay, so this one is
You were speechless about this one. It's so good.
I saw you had the microphone muted, so I
did. Yeah, sorry.
This one's allegedly Jane, the female Sasquatch in the same tribe or troop as the other one we've seen, Jake. He believes they're brother and sister in this tribe or troop. So this one would be a female that we're looking at allegedly.
He's got brothers and sisters.
He believes that these Sasquatch travel in groups of 6 to 10. And during the day, the youngest Sasquatches are the ones that are out. He calls them the day watchers. So they'll stand at the highest point and they'll look for hunters or anything coming in close to the troop. He also believes that these tree breaks and everything mean not to go in certain areas and what have you. But this one here looks the fakest out of all of them to me. But then again, I've never seen a female Bigfoot, so...
Yeah, I don't know. You know,
I want to believe it. I mean, I'm a want to believer. I would love that to be real, man, because that would be game changer.
Well,
what are the odds, Steven, of him going out there and getting all this spectacular footage? And why are they always behind a rock or a tree?
Yes, exactly.
Why don't we get any?
Purposefully, it looks purposefully
perfectly
obscured.
Placed. Yeah.
It looks like a set. You build a set. You place the actor on the set, whether that actor is a pup, whether that actor is somebody in a mask or a puppet head on a stick that somebody's behind a rock holding up.
And if I'm not mistaken, his sister Louise is a makeup artist, special effects artist.
I've heard that many times, but he denies that. I've watched a video of his where he denied that.
He'll say
true.
Yeah, he'll swear up and down that he spoke to makeup artists and this cannot be animatronic. They could not make prosthetics that look like that. He even has video where he gets the actual tree branch and the actual pine needles from that time of year and measure them across the nose or from eye to eye to show you how long it is, how far apart these eyes are, how far apart the bridge of the nose is. And it's like, from what he says, it's like 3 or 4 times the human size. He's saying these things are between 9 and 12 feet tall, between 800 to 1,000 plus pounds.
Well, that's a lot of claims, but there's I want to see
proof.
What is the evidence for this? And I did see the eyeball thing, but I was less than convinced. He basically argued that the distance between the eyeballs were much bigger than a human's.
Correct.
Distance between the eyeballs. Okay, but if it's a puppet and not a human,
Right.
or not a living, breathing creature, then you can put the eyeballs wherever you want them.
Any way you want. Exactly.
Yeah. And if it's a mask, you can put the eyeballs wherever you want them, and you just have somebody that's got badly reduced vision in a mask, or no vision
Very
in
true.
a mask, just to get the shot. I
But
don't know.
he does have some compelling clips. I don't know if you have them, but he does have one or two that make you really scratch your head.
Okay, well, we have another face of Bigfoot. One second, let me get that up for us. And this one I called the Blackface Bigfoot.
Yeah, this one, the name is actually Kubota, is what he named this one. He actually claimed that he heard the Sasquatch talking amongst each other one time. Now, allegedly, this particular Sasquatch named Kubota, hear the Sasquatch speaking in their language, chat or whatever, and the words they mumbled were Kubota, and that's how he got the name for this particular Sasquatch that we're looking at here. And he claimed that it was an elder Sasquatch, very old, receding hairline, had a limp. He must have had an injured foot. Naturally, we don't see any of that here. Wait.
Receding hairline. He found a old ass bald Bigfoot. Really?
Yeah.
That's the story he's going with.
Yeah,
he found an old ass bald Bigfoot. Really?
And the best.
That is wonderful.
Yeah. And the best was how he came up with the name for a Kubota. He actually said he heard these other Bigfoot Sasquatch talking amongst each other, and they were basically yelling at this one, and they had yelled Kubota, like, in other words, he was doing something wrong, like whatever he was doing, and that's how he came up with that name Kubota. And if you watch enough of Todd's shit, you'll hear all this stuff.
This is wonderful. I didn't know some of this, that he had whole backstories for all this shit.
So my big complaint was, that's not a guy with some jungle face paint on, some military, camouflage or face paint on or whatever.
Yes,
and they were saying, his group of minions came after me like I'd never seen before. Well, look at the eyes. There's no whites in the eyes. And then I posted a picture of a guy in a tattoo shop getting his whites of his eyes tattooed black. I mean, you couldn't find somebody that had contact lenses that were all black to do that and paint his face. I mean, come on, that could be anybody we're looking at. It doesn't look like a Sasquatch. It looks like a man to me.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I thought for a moment that I had nailed this one and that it was a gorilla mask, but the more I looked at it, the more I thought that's just grease paint. That's one of those camo sticks, something 100%. Just black somebody's face out and obscure them all but a little bit of their face, and then tell them to blink a lot.
Right, and even if that's an elder Sasquatch, you're telling me he has absolutely no hair on the face like the other Sasquatches we've seen. Even the female, more of her face was defined, but she still had a lot. There was still a lot of hair on it. This has no hair on the face at all. And then he made another argument that Bigfoot, he believed, came from another tribe and ended up saying with this he believes they all come from different tribes. He believes they're all different shapes and sizes, different places in the world. They look differently and act differently. That's the theory that he's going on with these Bigfoots.
Yeah, this is amazing. So we have one more money shot from Todd Standing's documentary. By the way, it's called Discovering Bigfoot. You can watch it free on YouTube with ads. Just put Discovering Bigfoot in the search bar. You'll find it. You got to sit through some ads, but everybody can watch it. And I find it interesting that he didn't mention all that backstory on each one in that documentary that you talked about tonight.
You got to watch them all, man. There's like I watched every one of them, man, and I watch him when he goes live all the time just to hear what other bullshit he's gonna come up with.
Like, let's see what this guy's saying this week. My favorite was the story that he was going to work for this group of super powerful rich people that were
Oh
getting
my
an
God, I heard
expedition
this.
together.
Yeah,
And they were
yeah.
going to go kill
Yeah.
Bigfoot, and he was going to be like their tracker, but he was
Yeah.
working undercover
Yeah,
just to
yeah.
find out their plans, and then he was going to stop them, and nobody's killing Bigfoot on my watch.
Yeah, yeah.
Anthony, nobody's killing Bigfoot on my watch.
Big
It
Bad
was
Todd
so
Standard.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
it was
okay.
so ridiculous.
And these guys were supposed to be like soldiers that were going up there to like kill a Bigfoot, like ex-military guys. But Big Bad Todd Standard's gonna go stop them.
Maybe special forces.
Come on, man.
Yeah. So this last one that we have here.
Funny,
is,
he never talks about who they are, though, right?
That's what I said. Can I have their
Yeah.
names so I can
Yeah.
verify your bullshit story
Exactly.
with them?
Yeah.
He's never going to
Exactly.
give us their names. He just makes shit up on YouTube. It's ridiculous. We have one more, which I just called like the Running Man Bigfoot, and that'll be it. And we'll hold on here. So this one I called Running Bigfoot, and
All right, this video to me is kind of compelling, and I'll tell you why. That is a very, very, very steep incline. And a couple months ago, I was up by you in Pennsylvania, and you know how the mountain terrain is up there. I don't think a man could run up a shale mountain like that on the angle that it was going like that. And then they really did some deep dive into this video, and another YouTuber did analyze the video big time. And he pulled the image of that alleged Sasquatch down, and he compared it to one tree, a young sapling that was there that was about 15 feet tall. And when they put Todd next to the same, because Todd went up there and stood there as well, and when they put Todd next to that sapling and brought the Sasquatch down and stood it side by side, that particular being there was over 9 feet tall and maybe twice the width of Todd. Now, CGI can do a lot of things, and I wasn't there when it was made, but look at that. That does not look like a guy in a ghillie suit to me.
yeah,
That
I don't know. I would question
that could-
these. I would question these size comparisons. Like, how do we
Oh
know
yeah, no, absolutely.
what size we need to
Right.
know? We need a control. We need to know for exactly sure how big a tree was that this thing walked by.
Absolutely.
And I don't
But-
know that I trust Todd Standing to give us the measurements of the trees.
Well, it wasn't
know?
Todd that did it. It was another YouTuber that did it, and his information's in there. But look at the
Oh.
strides. Look at the strides and this was a person that was trying to prove Todd was a hoax, allegedly. But look at the strides that animal took. If you back it up, a couple seconds in, you'll see the foot strides in between that this thing takes. And I don't think people take such big strides like that going uphill.
Yeah, and this is
unless you're an Olympian.
Also, and this is just a dark form crouching down behind a rock that he claims is Bigfoot. I'm unconvinced.
But then again,
of that
Steven,
one at all. I thought that was the worst one. I thought it was the worst one because I thought it could be anything running up that. I don't know.
It can be.
And what you said about it being a steep incline, do you know, sometimes, at least where I'm at, where my cabin is in the mountains, there's hiking trails all over, and then there's game trails. There's just there's just clearing trails. Even in steep inclines, you don't know that there's not like a perfect trail there. Maybe
Very
it's
true.
narrow, but it could be like a perfect trail up that thing. I don't know. This one left
Very
me
true.
extremely unimpressed and unconvinced.
I was just a little shocked about how wide, the thing was stepping going uphill. I thought that was pretty stunning when I seen that. If I'm going to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I don't know. So, I don't know what to think of this footage because, honestly, you're the first person that said anything good about any of it. At least you did on that last one, maybe, because everybody so far that I've had look at this footage was like, this is just,
it's too
everybody
fantastic.
Thinks
it's too
everybody
perfect.
thinks it's fake that I've shown it to. I want to find somebody that thinks it's really real. All of it,
Yeah,
right?
well, I don't think it's really real, man, unfortunately. I think it's awesome. I think if it was real, it would be a game changer. I think he did a phenomenal job on production for that. I mean, if he would have made a movie out of it, he would have probably got more money.
Well, he made a documentary movie.
Yeah, but I mean like a real movie using those Bigfoots that he had in there, because I mean, look at those things. They're awesome looking, right? Those are really cool.
Oh, you mean like a
Bigfoot.
fiction movie, maybe,
Yeah,
where somebody
yeah.
meets a Bigfoot?
Absolutely.
Where somebody maybe meets a Bigfoot or group of Bigfoot.
Yeah, that would
Yeah,
been,
that would be a cool movie
that would
to
have
watch.
been wild. I would love to sit down and watch that. But to try to tell me that, you know, all those things are family and he's the only one that, you know, has access to them, I'm sorry, man, you're full of shit. But some of the footage might be real. Like that one going up into the woods very well could be, you know, a Bigfoot. That could be the one piece of real footage that he got, and then he hoaxed the rest, you know, to try to keep up with the scam. But who the hell knows, man? I wasn't there. And you know what I do? I go out in the field and I like to look for UFOs and strange objects. And you know, I'm sure there's people out there that, you know, say, you know, my shit's birds or it's fucking satellites, and I'm a bullshit artist. But there's other people out there that would want to give me the benefit of the doubt out there too. And you know, I want to just give the guy the benefit of the doubt because I wasn't there. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Well, I tried to get somebody to go on his expeditions, but they're all filled up for I'm not sure if it's a year or 2 years.
Yeah,
you
good
can't go
luck.
this
And then-
summer
and
or
then-
next summer.
And then he only picks like 3 or 4 people out of 20 that apply. So it's
Oh,
hard.
he's leaving money on the table then. You know,
Yeah,
tents
but-
aren't very expensive. Dude, if I was him, I would buy a whole bunch of tents. I would take everybody. 3,500 times 100, that's a nice week paycheck,
Yeah.
right?
He has a girl working with him now that's an empath. Maybe that could be a good lead for you. She's fairly new. She's like on the last 2 episodes of the show he does on YouTube. I
Well,
can't
can check it
remember her
out,
name. Yeah, but that could be a good lead for you to dig into. Maybe you can get her better than you can get him and talk to her, because she goes out with him all the time.
That's interesting. I'll
And
check
she's
into
supposed
that.
to be a psychic that goes out there, and she could talk to Bigfoot in her mind. So the show,
Really?
the show,
This is
I
just-
I
Oh my
swear to you,
god,
man.
this is getting
So,
better and better.
the show just gets
There's
better
a
and better, man.
there's a psychic girl that
Yep.
can talk to the Bigfoot creatures.
Yeah, man.
And does she tell everybody what they say?
I'm looking for it right now for you, dude.
Oh no! Yeah,
I
this story.
could, you know, I literally spit my coffee out when I seen it the first time. I'm like, this woman's really trying to tell me that she's talking to Bigfoot right now. But that could
So
be
you
a
got-
good lead. If you could find that girl somewhere, that could be a good lead for you to get some questions answered. That girl Ashley.
Yeah, maybe I could. I don't know. So, I have another video that I could share. This one is no, it's a little long. I'm not going to share that one. But in one situation that I found on YouTube, some random YouTuber, he took somebody out hiking to look for Bigfoot, a guy that had a huge YouTube following. And in the backseat of his car was a Bigfoot glove, which I found incredibly suspect. Like, why would...
What? Like the prop was in the vehicle, you're saying?
Yes.
Oh, man.
Let me see if I can get this queued, and then we'll play it. I don't want to play the whole video that I have here because it's got a lot of him talking and.
I mean, when the Bigfoot community doesn't like you, man, there's a really good chance that you're a hoaxer.
Yeah, and my issue is that he shows this this footage of logs and apples on logs, and then he says that the Bigfoot is taking the apples. There's a Bigfoot over here. There's a Bigfoot over here. And then we'll see what happens. This random YouTuber was in his car, right?
Yeah.
Going to some hiking trail to see Bigfoot, and they saw a Bigfoot glove in his back seat, right?
Unbelievable.
Amazing.
I believe it. There's actually a video where you see a log set up in the forest, and the Bigfoot takes the
you know what? I can
log.
play that. I have that right here. I can play
And
that right
I
here.
wonder if those are the exact pair of hands that he used to do that.
Yeah, why would he have a Bigfoot glove in his backseat? It's a little suspicious when he's doing footage like this. Although, what I will say, Anthony, is that I'm going to show you the unenhanced footage of his, look, a Bigfoot is taking my apples off this log, right?
Yeah.
But I did enhance it, and it's so grainy and shitty. You can't see if it's a
I know, it's
human
so
hand, a
far back,
Bigfoot hand, or whatever. It's way back in the frame. But I think this is awesome.
Oh man, that cut out of metal?
Yes.
That's great, man.
Isn't that beautiful? That's
That
how
is
much.
awesome.
This is how much I love Bigfoot and want
That's
him to
great.
be real. But
Yeah, man.
you know, my desire for him to be real doesn't make it so.
I found Bigfoot.
It's show and tell time here on Truth Seekers. But isn't it interesting? You know, like even if you know that a lot of this is bullshit, it's fun to imagine.
It's fun, man.
What if it's not? Look, man, you know.
You know, I'm going into my 40s now, and I was up in Pennsylvania looking for Bigfoot not too long ago, man.
There are big. You know this. You know what's funny is there's Bigfoot sightings all around my cabin, and I've been wanting to go talk to the people and look around, but I'm like, I don't know. I don't think I want to get into this rabbit hole.
The first thing I heard when I got up into your neighborhood up there was the Bigfoot radio station. I was like, oh man, I'm home. I've made it.
Yeah.
They got a Bigfoot radio station, man. I'm right where I belong. I mean, that's so cool, man. But you know, they lend a lot of credibility to the fact that people are having sightings, and they want the sightings to be fact. And you can't, you know, factualize a sighting. You have to physically have tangible evidence. You need a body. You need blood samples. You need hair. You at this point, we need a body. Until they drag a body in, nobody's gonna believe he's real.
Yeah, I think it's going to take even 2 bodies, 3 bodies, because you know, like what if somebody, I don't know, took apart a chimpanzee and a gorilla and a human?
Well, that's been done before.
That's
been done before too, man.
No, I don't think not with real tissue. With but
the guy froze the fake Bigfoot, and he had like chicken bones and shit inside the body of it.
Yes, he did.
Know, frozen and. You know, just like Dr. Greer's dead alien baby was like an aborted fetus or something sick like that, or like a dead chicken baby or whatever they used. I don't know. But that wasn't a real alien either from that at the Comet thing. It was fake too. So
Anthony, besides looking into this psychic, I did think that I should talk to some of these girls that he's been hanging out with.
Oh, yeah.
If I could find them. But it's kind of impossible because in some of these videos, he just says their first name. He doesn't give links to their social media accounts or anything like that. So I'm not sure if I'll be able to track them down, but I'm willing to give it a shot. Because I think they could have some insight into this whole thing, right?
Absolutely. You know, like if he's a creepy old man that ended up being a dirty old man when they were out there with him, I want to know. I'm going to help you dig into this.
What do you think the odds on that are, if we're going to speculate?
Well, very good, being as, you know, Todd's wife just divorced him, so, I mean...
I've heard that, yeah.
So, you know.
So he's like single now, and he's a big star of the Bigfoot world. Do you know...
Yes.
Because I'm not that connected into this Bigfoot world, right? What is the general belief or you know, is it 50-50 on him and the big, like, kind of like...
When it comes to Todd standing? I mean, they think
in the world
the biggest hoax are going. They think he's the biggest hoax are going. Yeah, I mean, he has this small following of maybe, you know... Well, I shouldn't say small. He's got about, you know, 90,000 people on his YouTube channel. But those are all diehard, you know, Todd Standing fans. And I'm sure out of millions of people, you could find a bunch that are going to be your fans and believe your bullshit. But, you know, the rest of the community, they think he's just a bullshit artist.
I started getting pretty deep into this. And I don't know. Part of me felt good taking walks in the woods near my cabin, trying to figure this out. And I decided that I need to get a fresh perspective. Maybe I've been listening to people that agree with me too much, so I wanted to try to get somebody that maybe believes in cryptids, is really interested and invested in cryptid creatures. So I kind of went looking and came up empty, but I did know that there was this guy Bobby from that One Time I Was Abducted by Aliens podcast. And every once in a while, those girls brought on this guy to do a show about cryptid creatures. And he seemed really interested and engaged and knowledgeable
about all of this stuff. So I thought maybe, yeah, we got to bring in a guy like that and just hear what he has to say about the footage. So I was lucky to get him to come here and just tell me what he thinks of the footage. And this is one of those times where all the stars just kind of align, and you know somebody that can contribute to the project you're working on. This was one of those times, and I was fortunate, and hey, I got to take you guys with me into this largely uncensored conversation. Let's get into it, friends. You are extremely knowledgeable about all different cryptid creatures, orang pendek, and the dinosaurs and the Loch Ness monsters and all of this stuff. Sure. So I wanted to ask you to look at this footage and just give your general thoughts on Todd Standing in general and this footage. Is this the face of Bigfoot?
Can I kind of preface a little bit before we jump into the footage?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. So I was thinking about this a lot since you asked me to do this. One thing I want to bring up is in this world of, high strangeness, conspiracy, whatever you want to call it, we talk a lot about how even the most prominent establishment science or academia or media, we're very quick to point out that they're not immune to corruption or agenda, right? And maybe it is the best that we have, that all things considered, we agree on a dominant consensus about things and kind of work from there. But you have people in these institutions, and it's no secret, that are motivated by things other than, raw objective science. And I think even Todd alludes to this a little bit in his documentary as well. But these people have more or less dedicated their lives to presenting evidence to construct a dominant narrative based on their theories. And inherently, I think that this means that there always is, on some level at least, an element of ego on the line, sometimes an agenda, sometimes monetary incentives. So when someone comes along with some fringe theories that challenge the status quo, the purveyors of that status quo will often seem to respond with resistance or smearing or scoffing. Names like Graham Hancock and Robert Schoch kind of come to mind when I think about that. But ultimately, what these people, these, I guess, guardians of the status quo is they're protecting their legacy or their agenda or their credibility or their influence or their source of income, whatever it may be. And I think it's important for us, people that are seriously serious about seeking truth and this kind of thing, is that this phenomenon, if you even want to call it that, this human nature behavior, it doesn't have to be exclusive, and it isn't only exclusive to, I guess, like dominant mainstream institutions. I think all people in groups are vulnerable to intentional or even unintentional corruption on both, I guess, like micro or macro levels. So all that said, if we apply this model to the investigator of high strangeness, you have some, at least, potential for similar interruptions in the science, if you will. So I think everyone's capable of rationalizing. I think a lot of ends justifying the means kind of things go into that. That's a different ethical conversation altogether. But everyone's capable of doubling down when they're faced with opposition to their claims. So I guess my point is, if we're going to be cognizant of human nature and corruption with dominant institutions, as we are quickly to do from this side of the aisle, it's only fair to practice that level of discernment for individuals as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
So all that said, I'm speaking in generalities here. I want to be careful, and I want to look at this footage as diplomatically as possible. I am not a field researcher. I'm not a scientist by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just a guy that's been into these types of topics for as long as I can remember. So over the years, I've just kind of snowballed my knowledge here and there, and for whatever reason, it's filled my brain up.
Yeah, I figured that you would be qualified to look at this footage and offer your opinion, because you have digested all of the available evidence, mostly of different cryptic creatures and the different things throughout the years, and maybe some of the Bigfoot hoaxes as well.
Sure.
So I wanted to get your opinion of what you think of the actual footage. Is it the face of Bigfoot or something else?
Okay. This is my raw gut reaction. I am not interested in the politics of high strangeness, if you will, but I can look at this in a vacuum as a person and try to give you my thoughts on it.
Excellent. So where did you want to begin? I've sent you these.
Let me take a look at the. I guess we'll start with part 1. Let me find your thing.
Yeah, and I called this Bigfoot Face 1. There's several different Bigfoot face videos in his documentary.
Okay, so just looking at that in a vacuum, if we're looking at this with a discerning eye, I'm not on one side or the other with it, but instinctually, and maybe it is confirmation bias because I'm not a full-blown believer per se, because I personally haven't experienced anything, but my gut tells me, of all the face footage provided by this gentleman, for better or worse, I guess it's the most compelling.
Yeah, this is the best one, I guess. I thought the same thing.
At a high bar, right? There's no reason why that's can't be prosthetics or spirit gum. I feel like the hair is a little bit too like Grandpa Munster, or like it's a little too prepared, a little too groomed before having shot this.
Yeah, like Bigfoot has hairspray somehow.
Right. It's got like some Aquanet, like and then I'm shutting out all the attempts that I've seen with people overlapping his face on top of this and all that. But my gut reaction to this one is this, as far as face footage goes, this is the best, and it's just my intuition raises quite a few red flags.
Yeah, fair enough.
And if there's anyone that wants that footage to be a real Bigfoot more than Todd Standing himself, it's me.
Yeah, I felt the same way. It's like I want it to be real, but my desire for it to be real doesn't make it so.
Right.
Okay, we can go to the second one.
So, as I mentioned with the first one we just saw there, it's almost like providing all this footage or providing all this evidence as a bundle doesn't necessarily help your case, because I can kind of 50-50 give the benefit of the doubt to that first one we just looked at. This, I get a lot of Frank Oz, Jim Henson vibes from this.
Yeah.
This reminds me, there is a scene in Return of the Jedi where C-3PO is describing to the Ewoks the story of the explosion of the first Death Star, and there's a quick shot of a little baby Ewok shuddering in fear, and it doesn't look exactly like this, but it definitely reminds me.
Yeah, Ewok vibes. Yeah,
I get mad Ewok vibes. And here's the thing, and I'm going to bring it up with the Blackface one as well, is like there's no consistency here to thread it all together as like the same species per se. You'd think there would be a little more continuity as to make these things look like they're the same
species, right? Yeah, that was my thought as well. They look like totally separate species. There's the problem that I have, and I like that point you raised, that putting these together actually raises more questions than it supports his case, because all orangutans have the same general skin tone. All chimpanzees have the same general skin tone. All gorillas have the same general skin color, skin tone. These things all are different. And that doesn't make sense to me if it's supposed to be the same species of cryptid creature.
So yeah, considering the let's say this all is legitimate footage of a relic hominid, right? Let's pretend that it definitely is. It's very unfortunate that that is what they look like if given, trying to convince someone that it is real, right? So like,
yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? So it's like there's no consistency. They all look like if in the response from someone presenting this as real evidence would typically be something like, well, Bigfoots are a lot like people and they look different in different regions.
I've heard that argument. Yeah.
Granted,
they're individuals. They're individuals.
Varieties of it, but as far as I know, this is all the footage from the documentary, and it's supposedly in the same location, and
it's supposed to be the same tribe of Bigfoot. He said it's a tribe of them. Yeah.
Todd Standing, I want it to be real, and I want to get on board, but geez, Louise.
Yeah. We could go to the third one then.
Okay.
So this is the black-faced man, or black-faced Bigfoot.
Okay. I have thoughts on this one.
Yeah, me too. But here, I don't want to influence any of our,
Sure.
people that are offering their opinions. So I'm waiting to hear what you have to say about this before I'll chime in with any of my own opinions. And I'll show you something after we're finished, looking at this, because I thought that I nailed exactly how he did this, but I was actually wrong.
The first thing I'll say is, and I'm going to say this about the movement footage as well, where it's not the faces, but the first thing I'll say about this is there's absolutely no reason why that couldn't be a human.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think a mask is necessary to create that, what we're seeing there. The other big red flag with this one for me was the hairline. So if you look at the hairline from the first footage and even the little Ewok one, unless this guy has like male pattern balding going on,
yeah, it's a bald Bigfoot, yeah,
like Hulk Hogan hair or something. But if you look at the first one from the same tribe, it's got hair all the way down to the brow, and this one seems to just have a pronounced forehead with charcoaly skin. Again, the big thing for me though, outside of providing the evidence as a group, is the fact that even if that is a real face of a real Bigfoot, in context, there's no reason why it couldn't be a human, right?
I agree.
Just 'cause that is not something that's difficult to create. We could do that in the backyard.
Yeah, this is exactly what I thought, and I believed at first that it was perhaps just a mask, a black-faced mask, but when I looked at it further, I believe that it's a human with black grease paint or charcoal, some form of makeup. That and then again, it makes no sense to me that these other Bigfoot creatures from the same tribe have a totally. It's like, is this the African American version of that Bigfoot? I don't understand. Right. Like, why is his skin completely and totally black like a gorilla, and all of the others have, much lighter skin tone or skin color?
Yeah, and it's really baffling to. I mean, the more we talk about this, the more it gets dodgier, because the more I think about it, why wouldn't if you were going to do a hoax, which I will not say one way or the other, I'm just giving you my opinion on the footage, but if you were going to do a hoax and present it as one package, why wouldn't you think about these things beforehand?
Yeah.
It's almost like the inverse of, it's very similar to like the Patty, how Patty in the Patterson Gimlin film has like breasts, and people like, well, why would she have breasts if it was a hoax? It was like,
that one thing really always bothered me, because I go, why would they, if they're trying to make a hoax, why would they put breasts on this thing? But then I thought, what an excellent convincer,
Right. So this is almost like a twisted, weird logic. In some weird way, as far as presenting the evidence that we're looking at here. I think there's a similar thread between those two lines of thought. So yeah, I think the breasts in the Patterson Gimlin film definitely lend it credibility, whereas it's almost like we intentionally made these not look real so that you would think that they were real. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like mind fuck, if you ask me. So.
Yeah. And so the last money shot from the documentary, and again, we took all of the money shots, what I'm calling the money shots from the documentary, and we are, we just zoomed in a little bit, cleaned it up, tried to make it clearer. This last footage, to me, is the worst of it, and I just call this Running Man footage because there's something off in the background, and you can't clearly see, is it somebody in a guinea suit or a camo suit, or is it somebody in a gorilla suit? Who knows? It's just it's not great footage, but I wanted to see what you thought of that as well, because to me this one was the weakest. I thought it could be anything running in the background there, and the framing of it seems convenient, like he can't get the thing in frame.
Yeah, you'd think your instinct would be to tilt up quite a bit more than if you look at the very beginning of it. You can clearly see there's something walking up a mountain, but there's not an immediate attempt to tilt up. And then again, I mean, this is just like there's no reason to immediately jump to Bigfoot. There's just not. Even aside from kind of these, I mean, these are supposed to be well adapted, forest men that can fluidly travel up and down mountainsides and what. That looks kind of awkward, but that's beside the point.
Yeah,
the footage is a little bit. Okay, I see. Yeah. The direction of the camera doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, and then even if you were to shoot that perfectly, I can't rule out not a
person. Yeah,
or not a person.
Yeah, and it just seems convenient to me, the framing of it. Like how are you not getting the whole thing in frame? You're only getting half of it in the frame. It just seems to me to be conveniently shaky and
and I think that's kind of I think that is maybe was part of the appeal, as well as not like you always criticize evidence that's like perfect, right? You're like, wow, how'd you get it so like steady and like but it almost like they're like accounting for that criticism, but it almost feels contrived in that sense as well, like from the other end. So I don't know, like, are we gonna Blair Witch it, or are we gonna Stanley Kubrick it? I don't know, something in between, I guess.
Well, one of the other things I wanted to ask you about is that I found evidence that Todd Standing used stills of these films. I found that it was very, very convenient that in all these Bigfoot face shots, there is branches or different leaves, different things obscuring the face. Mm-hmm. And then I found that he had basically, I believe, multiple takes, because he has stills where the stick is on this side. Then he has stills where the stick is on this side, or the leaf moves over here, or it doesn't make any sense. And I tried to say, well, maybe the stick moved or fell, or it's a branch. No. It seemed very clear to me that he took multiple takes of this footage and then took stills. And in each of these films, it's very convenient that there is, an attempt to obscure or, hide parts of the face. And also in the blinking bothered me. I went and I looked at footage of different ape species, gorillas, orangutans, and monkeys too, in the wild, and their heads move, they blink, their brows move, they chew, maybe they're eating something. There's just not enough movement in these shots to me. There's no blinking in most of it, except for the black faced one. So there's just a lot of problems with the footage. And I thought it was funny, like Joe Rogan is not a fan of this guy, Todd Standing, and said, if Bigfoot people think you're full of shit, you're probably full of shit, Right. And as far as the black man, the blackface footage, I thought I nailed him. I thought I
You didn't even
got
have
it.
to go that far, but yeah, that's pretty
Yeah,
close.
I'm gonna solo this, and look, you can see if I put it in front of my face. You know, if I lined up a shot right with leaves and things around just like that, and I just blinked, you know, and you're only
Right.
going to see this small portion of the face. I thought, yeah, I have a huge collection of masks and weird things, and I went through my stuff because I remembered this mask, and I said, that could be a very easy way to accomplish that shot.
Mhm.
And I even for a time thought, you know, I'm like trying to match up the brow ridges and stuff. Maybe this is the exact thing that he used, but I don't think so any longer. It doesn't quite match. But I'm sure I could recreate that footage very well with something like as a $10 foam mask, you know?
Or my thought on that is there's no mask. It's just like
grease paint. That's what I believe. Yeah.
going in, you watch those old like Marine Corps recruitment commercials. There's dudes with like that black shit on their face.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, as far as the walking or the running footage, one time, you know, I have a cabin in the mountains and I hike a lot. One time I was hiking in the mountains during hunting season. And there was a guy, I don't know, is it called a guinea suit or a gunny suit?
Ghillie
You know, those, yeah, ghillie suit. Yeah. So out of the corner of my eye, I see a guy like jumping up the trail, like, you know, booking too. And at first glance, I thought that might be that could be a Bigfoot. It looked very similar to this footage that we see. It's just this whole suit of stuff, and it looks inhuman or something. So I guess most of me is left very unconvinced because I believe that I could recreate all of this footage at my cabin in the backyard, really, you know?
Yeah, it boils down, especially in this day and age, it's going to boil down to putting a body on a slab. I don't personally care about proving the existence one way or the other. It would be interesting, I guess, but I just, I gravitate towards the phenomenon in general. But like with this stuff, it's like he got dudes that I respect.
That's another issue.
And
him and Jeff Meldrum.
And, Meldrum, and I'm just like I get it though, like especially in these these kind of niche areas of study or whatever, like I'll listen to anybody, but I'm gonna be honest about how I feel about it, and if that hurts someone's feelings, sorry. I mean, it's just the way it is. I'm gonna be honest, but it's just very it's very weird to me that those two signed on to this.
Yeah, and one of them who has passed away, the wildlife biologist,
sure,
he basically endorsed the footage as genuine. But I found it odd that you would have Jeff Meldrum in your documentary, and Jeff Meldrum never comments on whether he believes this is real footage or not.
Yeah,
I've reached out to Dr. Meldrum, I don't know, many times. I've left him voicemails, I've sent him emails, and I simply want him to tell me, does he believe that footage is a real creature or is it something else? And he won't get back to me, which to me is very, very odd. Like, why would you be in a documentary and then a media person reaches out to you and you won't answer one question? It's a simple question, but I believe that standing perhaps, I'm told, I have a source which told me that anybody can hire Jeff Meldrum for a certain price to be in any project. He'll go and he'll talk or be a part of it or whatever. So maybe it's the Todd Standing purchased some credibility in the form of Dr. Meldrum, and that's what I believe, because Todd Standing has been mentioning his involvement with Dr. Meldrum since that happened. He says things like, Dr. Meldrum trained me. And that was another question. Trained you to do what? I don't understand, Right. But it seems to me that he does it in a name dropping kind of way. He's always mentioning his time with Survivor Man and Dr. Meldrum in an attempt to kind of gain himself some credibility, perhaps.
Yeah. I hate to consider those types of things when we're just truth junkies trying to figure out one way or the other, but I got nothing but respect for Meldrum. It just kind of rubbed me the wrong way that And you're right, everyone's got a price. Like, I don't blame a guy for taking money to be a part of a documentary. Like, that's totally fine. And it's an interesting point you bring out that there is no footage in that documentary that I've seen, at least, or now that you pointed out, that he's not necessarily even fully endorsing that as legitimate footage. So
yeah. And then Todd Standing makes other claims that I haven't heard Dr. Meldrum substantiate. You know, he was out there with Todd Standing, and they're out in the dark, and something ran through the woods, and he's telling Dr. Meldrum, that's a Bigfoot. You had a Bigfoot encounter. And later, Todd Standing keeps saying, I got Dr. Meldrum to see a Bigfoot 30 feet from him.
mm-hmm.
But we don't get him to say, yeah, I believe, you know, it could have been anything scurrying off in the woods, a raccoon, a deer, whatever. We don't get the endorsement of Todd Standing's claims about Dr. Meldrum. We just get sort of, like I said, this supposed credibility that he gets from being involved with the doctor of anthropology.
Sure. Yeah, and he and Bindernagel, I think, as far as I know, are the two accredited.
From academia, they're the PhD experts. Yeah.
Not that I put all my weight into that stuff, especially the last 2 years or so, but you know, it is what it is, and you know, those are the experts we recognize as a culture or society, and it is nice to have someone that's, you know, trained. I mean, it's like Meldrum's specialty is literally like anthropological feet or like foot podiatry, I guess.
Locomotion, bipedal locomotion.
Which is like, you couldn't ask for a better person to be into this. You know, and he's in the right location for investigating this kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't know. Like, again, all I can say is, again, I'm not one to speculate or smear or
You're very diplomatic, Bobby.
I am, because
I like that about you, though. I like that
because I like to be, you know, I like.
You're very fair. You're being very, very fair.
Yeah, but all I can do is look at the footage and just give you my opinion, and it's really, I'll put it to you this way. That said, it's very, very hard to look at this footage in a vacuum without considering all the external context of everything we've just talked about in the last 5-6 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I wanted. I wanted to give you my initial reaction to that footage initially, and then, you know, now based on everything we're saying, it's like, well, that's a lot of wrenches in the gears, right? So
yeah, and I don't know if you, I don't know if you looked at the final video. We're not going to do it here because it's kind of long, and well, but the point is, I also found additional evidence that raised a lot of questions. Like, one of Todd Standing's big other money shots is, look, I've set up these apples on a log, and the Bigfoots are taking the logs. I happened to find a random YouTuber that went on a hike with him, rode in his car with him, with another girl, and they commented that Todd Standing had a Bigfoot glove in the back seat of his truck. And that, to me, was kind of funny. Like, gee, I wonder how a Bigfoot hand is taking these apples off this tree. And even in the footage, you can't tell it's a Bigfoot hand. But he claims it is, you know. Why would he have a Bigfoot glove in the back of his car?
If my wife is accusing me of cheating on her, why would I put, you know, a brassiere or a woman's pair of earrings in my car? You know what I mean? Like, it's like the same kind of thing. Because this guy knows that he's not trusted by everyone, right?
Sure, yeah.
So it's very bold to have a Bigfoot glove in the back of your car, I guess is what I'm saying. It's dodgy, man. It just is. It is what it is. And and I think, you know, let's, one way or the other, I think just talking on hoaxing in general, it doesn't do anyone any favors. That's seriously.
Well, it does do him some favors, though, because one thing I noticed, the other thing I noticed that gave me a great deal of concern is that since he's made this documentary, Todd Standing has reused parts of that documentary on his YouTube channel with monetized views, getting great numbers over and over and over and over again for years now. And he is also taking money from people to take them, promising them that they will have a Bigfoot encounter. And I have a problem with that. Like, you better have some proof that if you're charging people money to see a Bigfoot, that's really a Bigfoot, or to me, that would be consumer fraud or a form of it, right?
Sure.
That's my take.
I mean, is that where? I mean, where do you draw the line with that versus like I guess a ghost tour? Is he actually advertising? I will show you an actual legitimate Bigfoot.
He says, it's kind of like odd wording. Like, I take people out and you will have a Bigfoot encounter. What does that mean? Does that mean that somebody's going to take apples off a tree, or something's going to scurry off in the woods and he's going to say that's a Bigfoot, or you're going to hear a Bigfoot call? He's got calls
or
in
like
some of his
hearing
videos.
a story about a Bigfoot around a campfire.
Yeah,
could technically be a Bigfoot encounter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, quite honestly, if somebody said, "Hey, you can pay $500 and you're going to see a Bigfoot," I guarantee it. I would sign up.
Yes.
Probably, right? But he's not given a real guarantee.
How do you? What's your take on his whole? Didn't he try to get some policy in place in Canada to?
He tried to sue to get it to have it become a protective species.
Do you think that's just publicity stunts?
I think that's publicity stunts. And then also, recently, he made some videos claiming that there was a group of powerful people with all kinds of equipment and money, and they were going to go shoot a Bigfoot, and he was going to be an advisor. And then he backpedaled on that and said, no, I was just, the enemy of my enemy. I was like, checking them out and looking at their plans and all of this different. It's this big, wild story. And my thing is, let me talk to that group of people. I don't think they exist. I think that he makes up stories.
It feels kind of David Wilcocky.
Hey, that's a good term. That's a good adjective. David Wilcocky. Yes.
It's, and that's the thing too. That's I feel like what's happened with the internet now, and it's a double-edged sword, but it's almost given, I don't know, gurus or, UFO cult people or whatever. You don't have to congregate in one location. You can just harvest them from the net and get them in a little chat like this. And, here we go. Here's our congregation of the Church of the Bigfoot or whatever.
Yeah.
And it kind of preys on people's vulnerabilities or desire to believe in something bigger than themselves or bigger than what society allows them to believe in. And at the same time, it's a great way for people that are legitimately investigating this stuff to get together and exchange information. So you just got to sift through the crap. And that's kind of what I was getting at the beginning when I was talking to you, is like, I've more or less trained myself into a realm of discernment when it comes to corporate media or advertisers and things like that, where I know when it's bullshit, because it usually is. It's not that hard once you realize, like, oh, it's basically all lies, right? At the very least, it's a shadow of the truth with an agenda behind it, right? With individuals, like you said, I'm a lot more diplomatic, because I find it harder to not give individuals the benefit of the doubt. With institution, there's very little accountability there, and it's just kind of the nature of how institutions work. I want to trust people, and I guess I'm trying to develop that level of discernment when you're talking to small groups or less powerful people or less powerful groups, because they're just as prone to pulling the wool over your eyes as
absolutely,
or CNN.
One of the things that bothers me about the footage is that it would take me 3 times as much effort to prove that it's fake that it took him to create it, because maybe I'll do some recreations, but still some people will be convinced that, no, that's really a Bigfoot, that's truly a Bigfoot. Confirmation bias, wanting to believe it. Yeah.
But that's the thing too with this, like, I guess this is kind of redundant, but you're starting from the premise of this is a Bigfoot, and then you look at it and you choose, is this a Bigfoot or is this not a Bigfoot? It's not like this might be a Bigfoot. It's like, no, here it is. Here's the Bigfoot. And then it's like, well, most people are like, that's ridiculous. And then people that want to believe it are like, sure, why not? If it reinforces as your confirmation bias or worldview, or, I think there's a lot of hunger in these types of community. There's a lot of hunger for "see, I told you so" type stuff. Even for people that aren't trying to monetize it, people that are just, I'm more or less one of them in my family. People are just like, oh, that's Bobby. He's into some kind of unorthodox things, you know.
Yeah, you're like the
And-
weird uncle that talks about conspiracies at
that's
Thanksgiving,
exactly right.
right?
Exactly
Yeah, I
right.
am too. So
Yeah, yeah. And every time, you know, one of my, I don't know, not even predictions, but it's like the things I say are going to happen. I'm got a pretty good track record as far as like geopolitics and things like that go. And, you know, 6 months ago, you're crazy. And then it comes around in the regular news cycle.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
like,
about the.
I
I've
don't
noticed
expect any
that. There's a
apologies,
6
but-
months. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a
6
6-month cycle now between conspiracy. Oh, that's a conspiracy. That's a nutty conspiracy too.
I think it's getting
Oh no,
shorter.
that was true. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
You know,
Well,
it
I
just-
appreciate you doing this and being so diplomatic and fair. I have tried to be fair, and I'm bringing in every expert that I could think of that I thought would be qualified to decide if this is real footage or something else. That's all I can do.
Awesome.
So what do I think? Is this really the face of Bigfoot, or is this just another hoax in a long line and list of Bigfoot hoaxes throughout history? After all, we must realize and accept that Bigfoot hoaxes have plagued the quest for authentic evidence and hindered scientific progress within the Bigfoot research community for decades. In this film, I hope that we shed light on this example of what may be fraud and deception. This film, after all, aims to encourage a skeptical approach when evaluating so-called Bigfoot sightings and especially Bigfoot evidence. Todd Standing is a prominent figure in the Bigfoot research community who asserts that he has filmed and even interacted with real Bigfoot creatures. Through a thorough evaluation of the evidence presented by Standing, including his videos and testimonies, some of his interviews, as well as an examination of scientific methodologies and standards, this film aimed to assess the validity of his claims. By applying a skeptical lens to Todd Standing's assertions, we aimed to contribute to a more rigorous and evidence-based approach to the study of Bigfoot. Todd Standing has gained notoriety within the Bigfoot research community for his extraordinary claims of filming and interacting with Bigfoot creatures. While his assertions have garnered attention and sparked curiosity, it is essential to subject his evidence and methodologies to critical scrutiny in order to evaluate the credibility of his claims. Standing has released several videos purportedly depicting encounters with Bigfoot. These videos often show blurry figures or glimpses of a large, hairy creature's face. However, the quality of the footage, the lack of clear details, and the absence of corroborating evidence raise concerns regarding the authenticity of these films. It's also important to note that in every shot, it appeared that the figure being filmed was purposefully somehow obscured from view. We saw examples of this with branches being right in front of their faces and things like that. Skeptics argue that Standing's videos fail to meet scientific standards of evidence. The footage lacks clear focus, making it difficult to discern relevant details, such as facial features or distinctive characteristics of the alleged Bigfoot creatures. Skeptics also question the absence of consistent and high-quality documentation, raising doubts about the reliability of Standing's claims. Standing has presented witness testimonies from individuals who claim to have had encounters with Bigfoot creatures in his presence. While personal accounts can contribute to the overall body of evidence, they are inherently subjective and prone to biases and misinterpretations. Therefore, a more rigorous scientific investigation is necessary to establish the credibility and reliability of these testimonies. Standing's claims and evidence have so far yet to undergo rigorous scientific scrutiny and verification. Scientific methodologies such as peer review, independent verification, and controlled experiments are essential in establishing the authenticity and validity of any extraordinary claim. The absence of such scientific validation raises doubts about the reliability of Standing's claims. While Todd Standing's claims of filming and even interacting with Bigfoot creatures may intrigue and captivate enthusiasts, a rigorous scientific examination reveals significant shortcomings and challenges to their credibility. The lack of clear and compelling evidence, failure to adhere to any scientific methodologies and standards, and the absence of independent verification undermine the validity of Standing's claims. As researchers continue to explore the realm of Bigfoot, it is crucial to maintain a skeptical and evidence-based approach, emphasizing the importance of replicatable methods and rigorous scientific investigation. Throughout our investigation, I emailed and showed this footage to everyone I could think of: primatologists, wildlife experts, and more. And this is in addition to the experts we presented in this film. No one that I showed this footage to thought that the footage was real. Now, this doesn't mean it's fake, but if so many experts can look at this footage and come to the conclusion that it is fake, I'm inclined to believe the experts. Is this the face of Bigfoot? The truth is, I cannot prove that it isn't, but Todd Standing can't prove that it is. Therefore, this so-called evidence has no value.
Truthseekers is a viewer-supported show. Wonderful people like you who enjoy this show send pledges in the form of super chats, super stickers, super thanks, PayPal, or Cash App. Instructions for how to help are in the description. You can also join our Patreon, and for as little as $1 a month you can get extra content. Patreon supporters get a backstage pass, early access to all our production videos before they are distributed publicly, Steven Cambian's music, private writings, a monthly show journal, and more. You can also become a YouTube channel member for $5 a month. A YouTube membership includes all of the Patreon benefits, plus a special members badge, priority reply to video comments, and the live chat, plus a monthly members-only video. We thank you all, kind and generous benefactors, for supporting Truth Seekers. Thank you for your generosity and support. Truthseekers is a viewer-supported show. Now there's a great way to support these broadcasts and show your support. Please be sure and check out our merchandise store. Links to our 2 merchandise online stores are in the links to this video or podcast. The Amazon storefront ships super quickly in the United States, Great Britain, and many more places. Amazon may not ship to your country or location. If that's the case, hit our second merchandise link in the description and visit our Redbubble storefront. Merchandise from our Redbubble storefront ships worldwide, but may take longer than Amazon. We've got a great deal of super high quality merchandise for you to choose from, including t-shirts, phone cases, sweatshirts, and even pillows. The feedback from our products have been overwhelmingly great. Quality products and fast shipping. People all over the world are buying some merchandise and showing their support of the show. Praise the cash! Praise the cash! Praise the cash! We thank you all, kind and generous benefactors, who are buying some merchandise and helping us to continue this journey. Thanks for being here. This is Truth Seekers with your host, Steven Cambian. Please rate, like, and comment on our videos or podcasts. If you are listening to an audio podcast, please rate us 5 stars to help us rise in the search rankings. If you are watching on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. If you're listening to an audio podcast, we love and appreciate you listeners, but you are missing the live tapings. All our shows are recorded live with video feed. We'd love you to come be a part of our live broadcasts and tapings for the podcast. Head on over to YouTube, click the search tool, the little magnifying glass, put Truth Seekers, one word in the search bar, and hit enter. You'll see a strange and mysterious guy with sunglasses. That means you found the channel. Go there, smash the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to receive up-to-date info on our YouTube channel. We welcome you to be a part of our live taping and our chat room during the live broadcasts. Seek the truth. Speak the truth. This is Truth Seekers. Truth Seekers.